Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gillen's Garage. As you can see behind me here, I got my 1997 F-350 featured earlier. And after that, I had a couple of requests for a breakdown on the ZF6 swap that I have done on the truck. So I thought I'd throw something together, show you how I did it, and how it's worked out for me. So here we go. Alright, so here I am in the cab. As you can see, it looks pretty much stock appearing, and that's because it is. The shifter location for the ZF6 is the same as the ZF5, so I had no issues with the shifter boot on that or any of the alignment for the ZF6 itself. So, as you may notice, this truck is two-wheel drive, but in the process of converting to four-wheel drive, I do have the four-wheel drive shifter in place. In 97, it had a blank spot. I can't remember if it was screwed or riveted in place, but just basically had to take that blank plate off and bolt the an OBS four-wheel drive shifter base in and run the shifter up through. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy overall. Aside from dirty carpet, not a bad install. Alright, so the first thing I wanted to show you underneath here is the fact that I am using the factory Super Duty cross member out of the early 99 truck that I took the transmission out of. But here is the original mounting hole for the ZF5. So when I put this in, if memory serves, this hole worked out. Like, there happened to be an existing hole in the frame that I set the bolt in and got this in place, squared up the cross member in the frame as far as measuring goes, and had to drill this hole and these two holes up here on this side. Obviously the same process on the other side, except I had to drill all four holes. But this one, I believe it was the front hole, got me located, which was amazing. So let me slide back under here a little bit, which, boy, if this was four-wheel drive, it'd be a lot easier. So let me get my light situated here. So as far as the cross member goes inside, the Super Duty frame is 1 inch taller. So when it came to that, this piece right here was further out because the frame was taller. So all I had to do was cut about, if memory serves, about 5/8 of an inch off the bottom of this bracket because it hit on this radius, and basically slide it down and bolt it in. Obviously had to do the same thing. Oh no, the other side is different. It mounts on the outside of the frame. So with that reinforcement on that side, all I had to do was cut a little bit off the bottom and bolt it in. And once I bolted that in, it gave me the location to drill those two holes there. So everything was pretty straightforward. As far as the transmission, it's getting a little dark. Sorry about that. As far as the transfer case, if you can see up there, there's plenty of clearance as far as that went, and then plenty of clearance at the tailstock, and obviously I had the drive shaft shortened. I'll back up here a little bit. You can see the intermediate shaft here, how much shorter it is in comparison, because the ZF6 is so much longer. I mean, some guys may be tempted to put a one-piece drive shaft, but I was advised not to do that because of the length of the shaft was at the outer limits. Alright guys, so one of the things I wanted to show up here, I'm at the back of the engine. Here's the oil pan, here's the back of the block, and here's the bell housing for the transmission. But you see this right here. This is a thin, probably 1/8 inch spacer plate that comes on the Super Duties. So when you, if you're looking for one of these to swap in, you want to make sure you get this plate as well, because you're going to take off the larger, like 1 inch thick ZF5 adapter on the back of the block, and you're going to put this in place and then bolt it in. Otherwise, that was easy. Now, you might bust me. I am missing an inspection cover. So if you know anybody that has one, I need one. Alright, so I was able to use the ZF6 slave cylinder out of the truck that I got. And then if you notice, I do have the factory stainless steel braided line that was in the 97 truck originally. So all I had to do was knock that pin out right there, and the fitting comes out, slip this into the ZF6 slave cylinder, and put the pin back in. That really couldn't get any easier, and these things just are a twist lock. I don't exactly remember how to get it, but you push in and you twist. When I did this, I bench bled it, which is really the only way to go. Take the master cylinder out, take this out, put it all together, set this down on the ground, put your master cylinder in a vise above it, bench bleed it from there. Then you can slip it all down from the firewall down to here and put it in. I don't really know of another way to really make it work. That was just so slick. So you can see the factory hole here for the shifter. Everything lined up perfectly. No butchering there. That was, like I say, a factory hole. You can see some of the outline of that original opening that I was talking about that I butylled up here. This is where I butylled and got a nice good seal. So what you're looking at here is the four-wheel drive switch. Because my truck was two-wheel drive, it did have the wiring under here, but the harness was different. So I had the harness or the plug off of the ZF6 and the short segment of wire, so I was able to splice it in to my factory wiring, and four-wheel drive worked. Lights work even now, even though I'm not four-wheel drive yet. On the other side of the transmission is the reverse switch, which is the exact same wiring. You can plug and play on that. That's pretty straightforward. I can show you that, but that's pretty easy. All right, so overall fit and finish turned out really well. If my memory serves, I checked the existing angle of the transmission before I started, and then checked it again after I installed this, and the engine and transmission are in the same orientation as they were before I started. So that was another bonus. Like I say, the Super Duty frame is 1 inch taller, but from everything I measured before I started out, everything is the same from the bottom up. It's just 1 inch taller on the top side. So that really made things easy, which would explain why there'd be a little bit more clearance in the Super Duties versus the OBS, as far as the transmission tunnel. But overall, this was a relatively simple swap in the scheme of things. I'm no professional, and I got her done. All right, well, if you made it this far, I'm going to go over a little bit more. Some people ask me, why would you do the ZF6 swap? And my response to that was, well, I'm looking to convert to four-wheel drive, so I had to get a four-wheel drive transmission to start with, and the ZF6 is rated for more torque, has a better first gear, has a deeper overdrive, so there were a lot of advantages, especially if you stick with a 410 gear. That deeper overdrive will help lower RPMs out on the highway. So for me, it was a win-win. Nothing wrong with the ZF5, but this was a choice for me. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think of this.